Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much. Appreciate your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. You look great. Shout out to the 19. So, this is great timing because we did a video other day. We had uh, Angel Reese and Dejanay Carrington talking on her Angel's podcast unapologetically. Angel, there's your plug, Angel, and talking about the negotiations. And Angel Reese basically said, give us what we want or we're sitting out. Of course, it's not how she said it. She said we sitting out, but I cringe at that. I'm sorry. I don't care anybody who says it. It's blame my mother. Okay. She made me very much a grammar person, even though I am far from perfect with it. But certain things bother me anyway. Let's move on. Oh, Caitlin Clark speaking, I know it was a room full of doctors. I think they're all cardiovascular doctors, but I'm not completely positive. But she's asked about the WNBA versus the NBA. And we're going to take a listen to that. And then we want to talk about it because there's some really important points in here I think we need to discuss. So I'm going to roll this. It is a minute long, and then we will talk about it. I promise I will do my best not to interrupt. Let it play through. Here we go.
I mean, I'm not huge on like comparing the WNBA and the NBA. Like, I don't really think that's fair. Obviously, I think where the WNBA is right now is pretty incredible. I think a lot of people, or most people, would not believe it's in the place that it is right now. So I think when people always ask me this question, like where I think it'll be in 5 years, is like I don't like it's hard for me to answer because people didn't even think we'd be right here right now. And I think really sky's the limit. I think when you see our TV numbers when we're on, national television, we're averaging over 1 million viewers or whatever it is. The All-Star game, I think, was over 4 million viewers. Like, it's just really great numbers. So the more opportunities we're given, I think the more it's going to shine and get better and better. I think also the talent level in college is continuing to get a lot better, and as those players come into the league, and it's going to continue to improve. We're adding 2 new teams next year, and then probably another team year after that.
Some more games.
Yeah, more games, which I think will be good. It will lengthen the season a little bit more.
Okay, a few things on that. First of all, to that last one when he talked about more teams and more games, that is a huge thing that a lot of people don't talk about, right? The NBA plays probably more than double. WNBA will play 44 next year, 40 they just played. I think they've only been doing that a few seasons. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the NBA also has a much longer playoff. They've got a lot more games on TV, a lot more opportunity for TV ratings, which means media rights ad revenue, and that is what allows these leagues to pay the salaries they do, right? T- Uh, you know, um, Ticket revenue for live games is great, but that is not what drives these salaries in these big leagues anymore. Maybe in some of the smaller ones, it's a big deal, but not in these major leagues we're talking about. I love that she talked about how she doesn't like to compare the two. I think that's fantastic and really smart of her to do. And in case I know there's like an echo and stuff because of the room they're in. So in case you didn't quite get all that, we're going to go through these points and talk about them because there are a few things that really stood out to me. Again, first one is the fact that she didn't want to compare. Also, just the way she handled it in general compared to, say, Natasha Clouds about we want our money and we want it now. And Angel Reese and Dejanay being like, if we don't get everything we want, we're sitting out, which is not a negotiation. So yeah, so she says she's not. I'm not huge on comparing the WNBA to the NBA. I don't think that's fair. I think where the WNBA is right now, it's pretty incredible. I think most people would not believe it's in the place it is right now. And the other thing I say, first of all, again, Caitlin Clark's very well spoken, and she's also extremely humble because she started talking about TV ratings. No one will believe it's in the place it is right now, and she drives all of that. Ratings again without Caitlin Clark under 400,000. I think most people would not believe it's in the place it is right now. Yeah, 100%, because it's in the place it is right now because of Caitlin Clark. If there were no Caitlin Clark, this past year would have been no different than the other 27, 28 years for the WNBA. And it is important to understand that. It's important for the players to understand that in their CBA negotiations and in everything else they do and how they handle themselves, because they cannot do this right now without Caitlin. Without Caitlin, the ship sinks, despite how rosy it may look on the outside. And again, what's wild is this comes not long after Angel said her comments, and Dejanay as well. They're both making comments about the negotiations in the CBA and, give us what we want or else. Not a good way of handling it. Now it says the union is looking to drastically increase salaries for its players and close the gap with the NBA. Again, and right now, a minimum WNBA contract stands at 64,154, while in the NBA it's 1.16 million. But again, stop with the NBA comparisons. All this does is turn reasonable people off because you can't compare a league that's been around much longer that generates what, something like $8 billion a year in revenue versus a league that's what, maybe hit 200 million for the first time ever. It's absurd to compare the two. Now, I think the CBA, if they get it done, will start in 2026, which I believe is the same year the new media rights deal kicks in as well. So it's important for them to get into these negotiations, be reasonable. I think with the new media rights deal, players can get more money. But again, the whole thing is on shaky ground without Caitlin Clark. The other thing I would add too is get her in these negotiations. And I'm not even saying this in terms of, oh, well, she's the face of the league and she can, go in there and make these demands and get things done. And I'm not saying it because she knows all the ins and outs of how a multi-hundred-million-dollar professional basketball league runs or any of that, but just in terms of her reasonableness, how well spoken she is. Make her the face, make her the spokesperson in the negotiations. You can do all your stuff as players and this and that, but then have Caitlin do the speaking, I think would be fantastic for the league. I think it would be gives a lot better chance of them getting things that they want and actually getting something done because 2026 with no WNBA would be an absolute disaster for the league. And the whole Caitlin Clark's approach to compared to if y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out. There's a lot more chance with Caitlin Clark's approach of getting things done, even if she starts out asking for the same stuff that all the players want, and then maybe they can find some common ground and get something done and actually grow the league. And then, of course, we have the crazy stuff about what the Caitlin Clark's agent says. It talks about she's part of a larger player body. They all need to be paid more. Why do they need to be paid more? Can we just use math, use basic economics, use a little common sense and understand what is going on? Because this whole idea of they need is they're all basing it on the men versus women thing, which is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. I'll give you a great example, okay? From the world of soccer. You have the English Premier League, probably the biggest league in the world. It's definitely one of what they consider the top five with in Germany, Spain, France, and Italy. You have MLS in America. MLS players do not get paid what English Premier League players get paid because English Premier League play is much, much bigger, generates a lot more revenue than MLS does. And they're all men. They're all same men. They're all men that all play soccer. Some have played in both leagues. MLS doesn't get paid what EPL does. It's as simple as that. It really truly is. So, yeah, I just thought it was really interesting, especially the juxtaposition after what Angel Reese just said with Caitlin Clark and not making that comparison, which is great. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. What you think the chances of right now them having a lockout or a strike. And then the other thing I will leave you with this is I gave you the example with soccer, but one thing I always notice when they talk about these things, no one ever talks about male models and female models because I promise you the top female models get paid way, way more money than the top male models do. And I, for one, same job, same work. Those men need to get paid. I'm telling you, they need their money. It is unfair. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Appreciate it as always. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will talk to you later.